Okay, so once again, I am pushing off the playoff picture thing to tomorrow and Friday. I was originally gonna push it to today and have two videos go up today, but I figured I'm just gonna push it to Thursday, Friday, talk about that, um, and then I think I'm gonna do that for the next 2 weeks too. After that, um, because again, we still have week 16, so I'm gonna start looking at everything right before the week basically starts. Obviously, week 15 starts tomorrow. Um, I guess it's an AFC game, so maybe I'll put the AFC one up tomorrow and then the NFC one up on Friday. This week marks the start of Saturday games. Next week we will have a Friday game, or I think there's two or three actually for Christmas Day. So we have covered all seven days of the week for NFL football in 2020. Who would have thought of that? um, but yeah, so there'll be more. I'll have videos coming out next couple of days. I think I'll put out AFC tomorrow, and I'll just put that up before Chargers and Raiders play. Who I don't really talk about the Chargers at all. I think I talk about the Raiders for maybe like a minute. Right now they're at, I think it's the seventh seed, I believe they are. So obviously, well, they might even be at the eighth seed, so they might be out. But that'll come out tomorrow, and then I'll push NFC off to Friday. But getting into the picks, like I said before, Chargers head to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. Um, I don't know what to think of these two teams. Raiders went on a streak where it looked like they could be a really good team and actually make a playoff push, and then they kind of fell off. And then Chargers are just sucky. So this one is kind of hard to pick because I mean both teams aren't that good. I don't remember who won last time. I think the Raiders won last time. I don't remember. But I'm picking the Raiders for this one to beat them. I just think that they'll suck less. And plus, they still have playoff hopes. Again, they're like the seventh or eighth seeds. They either looking outside in, or they are looking, or they are on the inside and trying to stay away from the outside. So I'm gonna go with the Raiders with the win here on Thursday night. Then, as I said before, too, we have two Saturday games for Week 15. The first one is, I think it's like it'll be 3 o'clock here, so it's like a 4 o'clock East Coast game. I believe is what it is, and Buffalo heads to Denver. Um, this is in Mile High, so I mean, there's a little bit of a factor there because it's a lot harder to breathe. It's a lot different atmosphere in Colorado when you're a mile high above sea level. So I mean that could give Buffalo a little bit of a challenge, but yeah, I mean Buffalo is used to the cold. Obviously, they're not used to like not being able to breathe less, but I don't think the cold should really affect Buffalo. So I am giving Buffalo the win here. They are the better team all around. But I mean, do not forget about Mile High. It can affect players and it can affect teams. But I think Buffalo should be able to overcome it and beat Denver. Then for our second Saturday game, Carolina heads to Green Bay. Uh, I mean, if CMC was playing, this game would be a lot better. It'd probably be a lot closer. I don't know who the backup is for Carolina, and I don't know how good their backup running back is. But if they can get him going against the Packers' run defense, they have a chance in this game. But I think Aaron Rodgers is just going to torch on offense. That defense is okay. Carolina has gone from almost beating the Panthers to just sucking against not that good of teams. So they're up and down, like the Raiders. You never know what you're going to get with them, but I do think that they are going to lose this game. Oops, they're going to lose this game to the Packers on Saturday Night Football. Then Sunday not morning games. It'll be Sunday noon games. We have three of them. So the first one is San Francisco heads to Dallas. I mean, Dallas is. I mean, if they lose here, they're out of the playoffs. I mean, you can basically guarantee that. And on paper, they won't be because, again, they still technically have a chance. But if they lose to San Francisco, they fall 3 games behind. I forget their record. I know they just beat Cincinnati this past week, but San Francisco is good. So, if Dallas loses here, you can basically call them out of the playoffs. The other 3 teams, though, Washington football team, who leads. Obviously they're leading right now. Giants are half a game behind, and then the Eagles are 1 game behind. So, there's still, 3 other teams that could win it. I think it's going to be between the Giants and Washington football team. Yes, Jalen Hurts is, a boost for that team, but I don't know if that's enough to overcome the deficit and, win the division, because you basically need Washington football team and the Giants to, lose 2 games, basically. So I don't know how likely that is. Speaking of Washington football team, Seattle heads to their stadium for a second noon game. And the way that the Giants played the Seattle and that defense disrupted Wilson, and that it was a low scoring game, but that defense, Seattle's defense, didn't show up too much. I think Washington football team is going to make this a 10-point game. I think they're going to win 24-14 or something like that. I think that front 4 scares the crap out of me still. I don't know if I want to play them in the winter in the playoffs. I think that's going to be a really interesting team to play, and they seem to get better as the year has gone on. So, this Washington football team could, if, they have to keep winning, obviously, because, again, the Giants, like I said, are only get half a game behind. But if they can outlast the Giants and win the division, I don't know if I want to head to Washington to play them. I really don't. They could win in the wild card weekend. They really could. Past that, again, once you get past wild card weekend, you have a lot of, the better teams that survived. As a Packers fan, they scare me a little bit. Again, they can get pressure on you. The way that Philly played New Orleans, I think Washington football team can take that game, look at that, and say, hey, we can do the same thing. Obviously, it'll be with the less mobile QB. New Orleans could be nervous. The Rams, I think, have they played the Rams? I think they already beat the Rams this year, didn't they? I don't remember. I'm gonna have to go back and find that. But I think they played the Rams, and I think that was the game. Never mind. Okay, that was the game where Alex Smith actually came in late in the game, so they lost that game. But I think with this team now against the Rams, you have to be a little nervous. I just think Seattle doesn't have a chance. I think it'll be kind of a tight game, but I think that Washington football team is going to pull this out and win. They are my pick for the East to win the East. I think I had the Eagles at first, but then seeing how this team has evolved, I have switched over to them to win. Then our third game of the noon slot in Sunday, Chicago heads to Minnesota. Last time they played, obviously, in Soldier Field. I think Chicago lost, was it 5 points or something? I don't remember exactly how much they lost by. But I don't know how well. That offense is that offense is meh. Really, they are, and they're it's not that good of an all around a team. Obviously, the defense makes them decent. I am not putting any stock into them beating Houston. Houston is one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. I will say that with confidence. So they put up, I think, 33 on Houston. Not a big accomplishment. Not at all. Houston is just terrible, and they've gotten worse as the season has gone on, getting rid of players and whatnot. So I don't see how Chicago can win this game at all. You literally have to win this game, win out, just to beat out Minnesota for, what are they, 6th seed? Is Minnesota the 6th seed right now? Because the Bucks are the 5th. I think Minnesota's the 6th seed right now. So you basically gotta win out, and then I think Minnesota has to lose one more game because I think they have a 1-game advantage on Chicago right now. So yeah, I mean, there's a slim chance that Chicago makes the playoffs, but I think it's going to be Minnesota and Green Bay from the North. I don't think it's Chicago is going to replace Minnesota this year. Yeah, they've fallen off too much. Next, New England heads to Miami. This will be pretty interesting. I am picking Miami here, but New England is still technically in the playoff run. Miami is 7th. Oh, is Miami or the Raiders 7th seed? Oh, I don't remember. I did a video on this earlier this week. I should remember this, but I'm going to post that tomorrow, and then you're going to see who is where. But I don't remember right now. It's been a couple days. Well, it's been 2 days since I made that video, and I can't remember. I think Miami is like the 6th seed right now. But New England, they have to win out. I think Miami has to lose one other game, and then New England can sneak into the playoffs too. But I don't think New England can do that. They're going to give Miami, all they have. But I think this is going to be, a season where the Patriots don't make the playoffs. I really do. I think this is their time. I think Raiders will make it. Yeah, I really think they're probably really contending with just the Raiders and the Dolphins right now. Because I don't think anyone else that's outside looking in can make it in right now. Not off the top of my head that I can. So I think literally New England is the only one outside looking in that can make the playoffs still. And they're they have to fight the Raiders and Miami, and they have to basically win out and hope that one of those two teams slips up, loses another game to sneak in. But I don't think that is going to happen. So I'm picking Miami to win, and I think this is going to be the end of New England's playoff hopes for this season. So then we have Jacksonville taking on Baltimore. Jacksonville obviously got eliminated from the playoffs like 3 weeks ago or something like that. Baltimore I didn't watch this game. I missed this game, and I'm so mad I missed this game because this ended up being a really good Monday night football game. Baker had, I think it was like a career high game for yards or something like that too. So Baltimore obviously, just barely win it. Justin Tucker hit, was it a 54-yarder, I believe. But this is like a bye week type of a game. They put Gardner Minshew back in because Jake Luton started sucking again. So, return to Minshew mania. But Baltimore is going to win this one with ease, pretty much. Then Tampa Bay heads to Atlanta. Now, normally late in the season, Atlanta gives the South some trouble. Last year, they split with, I believe they actually split with everyone last year. Yeah, because they beat the Saints. I think they beat the Bucks the second time too. This year, obviously, Saints just rolled over them. Was that 2 weeks ago when they played? I think Tampa could have a little trouble against Atlanta here. I will see what happens. I am picking Tampa Bay to win, but I think that, if Atlanta wins, I'm not going to be shocked because they normally give the South problems late in the year. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going with the obvious pick of Tampa Bay. Then Detroit heads to Tennessee. Now, this game, as a Packer fan, I'm going to play semi-close attention to because if Detroit can upset Tennessee, I'm going to feel a whole lot better about playing Tennessee next week as a Green Bay fan. But if Tennessee runs all over and just demolishes Detroit and, just completely wipes them off the map, then I'm going to be super nervous because King Henry is already making me nervous. I just, knowing what he can do against run defenses, and especially because our run defense is trash. He, could easily go for over 150, maybe even 200 on our run defense. We'll see what happens. If Mike Pettin can come up with something and stop that defense, I'll feel a whole lot better seeing it. But This game I'm going to pay close attention to. I do have Tennessee winning, but if if you can see that actually, Detroit is semi-stopping the run, they're able to hold Derrick Henry to, around 100 yards or under 100 yards, then I think the Packers have to watch this film, learn from this film, and that is how they will beat Tennessee next weekend. So this game is going to be really interesting to watch, and we will see what happens. But I'm going with, the obvious pick of Tennessee to win. But there is a chance that Detroit could be upset, and I am not going to be surprised at all if they do. I think Detroit is now a little bit better team now that Matt Patricia is gone. If they draft, real well, I think this could be, a threat a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line. But we will see. It is the Lions. But we'll see. Then Houston ends the Indy. I'm going to just basically skip this one. I'm just going to say, it's Indy, it's Houston. I already kind of talked about Houston is just not good at all. Indy should just, be able to wipe the floor with them. But this could be kind of close because it is a divisional rival. So this could be a semi-close game, but I have Indy winning this one. Then Philadelphia heads to Arizona. Now, everyone's going to look and say, oh, Arizona's probably the favorite. They're going to just walk all over Philly. Philly's not that good. Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts beat, I believe they were graded the number one defense. By, I forget who, whatever, I think it was PFF or something like that, graded them the number one defense. The Saints, the number one defense, excuse me. And the Saints have not let up any rusher for over 100 yards, and I believe it was 3 years. And Philadelphia had 2 in the same game against New Orleans. So I think Philly actually has a chance of winning this game. This could be a semi-shootout with Kyler and Jalen Hurts, but I do think that Philadelphia is basically going to upset and basically going to beat Arizona in their own home, and Philly is going to stay in this playoff push. In the division, they're going to be there until week 17 when we know exactly, if who needs to win, who needs to lose, and whatnot to be able to win the division. So I'm not saying Philly's out yet. They are not out of this division yet. And I think this game is going to really help them, and I think they are going to upset Arizona on the road. Next, bye week for the Rams. Rams by 30. I don't even need to say the name. The number one overall pick are going to lose. Trevor Lawrence is going to have fun. That's going to be terrible. Oh, my God. I feel so bad for Trevor Lawrence. Jets need to really draft really good this offseason and the second through, really second on. They have to draft really good. Get an O-line, defense, everything. Next, what should be game of the week, Kansas City heads to New Orleans. I should have made this one green. In my playoff predictions, I will talk about how this game right here in Green Bay versus Tennessee has big implications for the number one spot or number one seed in the NFC. And so that, again, you have to wait 2 days for that one to come out. But this game right here will help determine who is going to get the number one spot and who is going to have a bye and not have to play Wild Card Weekend. So this game right here, and then again next week, week 16, are going to be 2 big games. If New Orleans wins this game, they basically have a pretty good shot at the number one seed. But if the Packers win out too, they hold the tiebreaker over New Orleans by half a game. So if they end up with the same record at 13-3, 12-4, if they end up with the same record at the end of the year, Packers are going to hold the tiebreaker there. But I do think Kansas City has enough firepower to beat this defense. I think it's going to be, I don't want to say a high-scoring game. I think it'll maybe be 30s, in the 30s. The winner will score 30 points. But I think, against that defense, if New Orleans can win, it shows that that Kansas City team can be beat too. So there's a lot riding on this game right here. It's going to be a blueprint for teams in the playoffs of the AFC. This is going to be a blueprint for who wins the number 1 seed in the NFC. So there's a lot riding on this game. And I did think about, wanting to pick New Orleans here. But I just think that Kansas City has enough firepower to pull this out and barely beat New Orleans. Obviously, they technically smoked Tampa Bay, and then they just played conservative the second half of the game and let Tampa Bay get back into the game. But I think this, there'll be enough to beat New Orleans here. Just barely though. I think this will be within a 5-point win, within a 5-point lead is how they Kansas City will win. So this will be a tight game. I think the winner will score about 30 points, somewhere in that range, and we'll see what happens. Then for Sunday night game, this originally was supposed to be, I think it was Jacksonville and Baltimore, I believe is what this was originally supposed to be. And this got flexed out, and they put in Cleveland and the Giants. This game, too, is going to have major implications. If the Giants lose, that puts them further behind the Washington football team, who I think can beat Seattle. The Giants showed they can beat Seattle with a backup QB. I think the Washington football at basically full strength can beat Seattle. So if Cleveland beats the Giants fall behind. That's not the end of the world, but I'm going to say that is almost guaranteed Washington football's division if they lose to Cleveland. If Cleveland loses to the Giants, then I believe they fall out of the playoff picture and Baltimore sneaks in. Because Baltimore, they have swept them, but because Baltimore just beat them last week, I believe they can sneak into the playoffs if Cleveland loses this Sunday night. So they want to win too. So both teams need to win. Obviously, I guess Cleveland can't win the division, but obviously Giants can win the division. But if Cleveland wins this game, it helps them in the playoff picture, stay in the playoff picture. And I think there's still technically a game, or I think it's like a half a game ahead of Baltimore, or not a half. Excuse me, they're a full game. They can't be a half a game because they just got swept. But this keeps them in the playoff picture, and this pushes back the Giants. So I am picking Cleveland, but there is a lot riding on this game here too. Just like Kansas City and New Orleans, both are going to be major shifts for whoever wins in the playoff picture. So it'll be really interesting these last couple games here. Then Pittsburgh has Cincinnati. There's not a lot to talk about here. Cincinnati, I think, is like the number 3 pick in the draft right now. And obviously Pittsburgh is leading their division. I think they locked up the division, so I think they are already playoff bound. They're basically set in the number 2 seed. I don't think, they need Kansas City to lose 2 games to get that number 1 spot again. So this isn't that big of a deal. This game is meh. It kind of it sucks that it's a Monday night game. I wish this was middle of Sunday, and then put like Chicago, Minnesota, New England, Miami, or even Seattle, Washington Monday night. One of those 3 games. You even push Cleveland Giants to Monday night too. I mean, there's a lot of better games that they could have done for this. But it is what it is, and Pittsburgh should just clean house and get their first win in 3 weeks. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up here. Again, I will have I will do the AFC one tomorrow. I was originally going to do the NFC one, but because we have 2 AFC teams, and the Raiders are again technically still in the playoff picture, I will put them. I will do AFC tomorrow, get that out before this Thursday night game, and then Friday we will have the NFC playoff picture after. Well, heading into Week 15, basically. Again, I am going to be a day late because, it technically starts tomorrow on Thursday, but I'll get that out. It's not this game. It doesn't matter a lot for the playoff picture too much, unless if Oakland loses. I'm telling. If the Raiders lose. Then that could be, there could be a little shakeup at the bottom. So, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Like the video, share the video around. Don't forget to subscribe. And we are out of here.